I'm Eric Baker, and I've lived in Tennessee my entire life. However, for the last decade, touring the world, I've only seen it passing by from a windshield. But finally, Tennessee is calling me back where I belong.
There's a place you've never been. It's right where you want to be.
I want to rediscover how great my home state is, and I want you to come with me.
Uncharted.
On today's episode of Tennessee Uncharted, we're riding up through the Appalachian Ridge and Valley Range of the beautiful Cumberland Mountains in Campbell County. This area is part of the massive Appalachian coal field that dominates much of central Appalachia, which helped make Campbell County Tennessee's largest coal producer in the early 20th century. With mountain elevations varying from 820 to over 3,000 feet, these mountains are characterized by long, even ridges with long, continuous valleys in between. From great enough altitude, it's been said that they almost look like corduroy. But as with anything, to truly know something or someone, you've got to know its history. You got to know where it comes from. For some of us, those facts might be buried a little deeper, but buddy, you can bet they're back there. Preserved in old, awkward photographs and dusty, faded memories, our past is never far behind us. Admittedly, there are quite a few parts of my past that I'd like to forget. But whether I like it or not, for better or for worse, my past is an important part of who I am. As a young man, I spent a lot of time trying to run from my past. But as I get older, I find myself running back towards it. Fortunately, the same roads that take us away also lead us back home. From the way that we talk to the way that we cook our breakfast, our past is imprinted in who we are. And hidden in our habits, many that have been passed down through generations, are our traditions, which in my opinion, hold on to the best parts of a previous time. For over a century, these mountains were a barrier to the westward expansion of the first settlers in this country. And even with today's technology, the ridge and valley system here still presents a difficult obstacle to east-west land travel. But where some see obstacles, others see opportunity. And that's what brings us here to Ride Royal Blue. What is Ride Royal Blue all about?
It's a family operation. It's me, my daughter, and my son. We started it 8 years ago and really haven't done a lot of marketing. I mean, it's mostly word of mouth, and it's just a hidden jewel here in Tennessee.
What am I going to be doing today?
Riding the ATVs through the WMA, Wildlife Management Area.
Yes. 200,000
acres and 600 miles of trails. And it's geared for family entertainment.
200,000 acres.
200,000 acres.
So that's got to be one of the biggest management areas.
It's one of the biggest east of the Mississippi.
East of the Mississippi.
Right here in Tennessee.
What makes this area so friendly to ATVs and OHVs?
Well, it's an agreement with the TWRA when they started back in the early 80s that they would always keep it open to OHV. So in doing so, they have perpetually kept the trail system friendly to the ATV traffic so that we can keep that privilege to ride the mountains and tour and see the wildlife. I mean, primarily we're a wildlife management area. So you have the elk, you'll see the occasional bear, there's turkey, it's not just an adventure type riding, but it's also touring the wildlife. It's a partnership, and it works.
You'll notice as we go through the trails, they're very well kept up. You know, there's not horrible erosion and stuff like that because there's always somebody out there working on them at all times.
And that's one of the things that we get feedback from our customers almost weekly is that this is their favorite place to ride.
So Nate, what all do y'all offer here?
We offer all different types of lodging, ranging from the bare essentials to camping to all the amenities that you would want, to small groups to big groups, but it's mostly just geared towards family, like she said.
And people can bring their own ATVs and...
They can rent the ATVs, they can bring their own dirt bikes, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, Jeeps, pretty much anything with an engine, you can ride it up here. And there's different trails that are geared towards different things. There's wider trails for your Jeeps and, you know, your mudding courses and stuff like that. And then there's also the more narrow trails geared towards your four-wheelers and dirt bikes and different vehicles like those.
I think it's interesting, a family-owned business. I think a lot of times kids don't want to do, they want to do the exact opposite thing that your parents did.
It's some of the best memories that I had as a kid was going up here, you know. Back before the trails were maintained to the degree that they are, you know, we'd have a big monsoon up there and we'd get stranded, and my grandpa would whip out his hatchet and start us a fire and, you know, different things like that. It's memories that, you know, that you hold on to for the rest of your life and you want to share with your kids in the future. So it's definitely something you want to keep going on for generation and generation.
And I mean, you're opening that up to other families.
Exactly.
And to me today. So I'm ready to go out and make some memories. So let's do it. I got my first four-wheeler when I was 7 years old. At that time, I could barely reach the shifter to change the gears. So you can say I've literally grown up riding ATVs. And if it weren't for those rides, there are a lot of places I would have never seen. And there are a lot of memories riding all over creation with my cousin John I would have never made. I think ATVs are just another example of all the different ways there are to enjoy the outdoors. One of their greatest benefits is that they offer opportunities to get outside to a lot of people, like the elderly or handicapped, who otherwise wouldn't be able to. Plus, they help bring out the kid in a lot of us grown-ups as well, which is never a bad thing. Ride Royal Blue ATV Resort is dedicated to helping families create mountain memories. And the vision of this ATV ranch is a product of family tradition, rooted in the hope of bringing people together to hopefully help create traditions of their own. While the crew and I had a ball bobbing and weaving through the North Cumberland Wildlife Management Area in order to get more familiar with this stretch of the Appalachian Ridge, here at the Appalachian Arts and Crafts Center, I hear that they use weaving in an entirely different way to connect folks to disappearing Appalachian heritage. So let's step inside and see if we can find out more. Upholding our traditions is a way of weaving the past into the present. But in some cases, to ensure that an area's heritage lives on, it's not so much about how we carry on those traditions, but what we carry them in. All right, let's let the magic commence.
We're ready.
Where do we begin?
Well, we're going to take your reed out of the water where it's been soaking.
Okay.
That way it won't split or break. We're going to just lay these out, Eric, alternating long and short. This center actually started in the 70s. Two ladies had an idea to help the local people in this area market their crafts. They rented space in an old market or an old store. It was a general store right across the street. And they set up a craft cooperative. And so the people in the area could bring their crafts here and sell them on commission. This style of basket evolved from Scotch-Irish settlers that came to this area, and they worked in willow.
Okay.
But the willow that they used in Scotland and Ireland didn't grow here. And so that's how our white oak tradition developed. They adapted the basket techniques that they knew to the materials that they had here. All the long ones go on top of your handle. So we're just gonna lift those up and slide your handle in.
Okay.
Like so. And I'm gonna give this to you.
Obviously you get these beautiful baskets, but what else does basket weaving give you?
Well, it's very tactile, you know, and when you're finished, you have something that's gonna last a lifetime that you can pass on to somebody else. It can be functional yet beautiful at the same time. I also find that very rewarding when I'm able to make something that's very lovely as well as something useful. Historically, most market baskets have an open weave bottom. When you were carrying something soft, like tomatoes or whatever produce you had, if the bottom is an open weave, it gives a little bit. So the things on the bottom don't get crushed or bruised.
Once you see how something is constructed, you see it in a whole different way. Over the years, I've seen my share of baskets, and I must say, I've never looked or thought twice about them. But now I have a new appreciation for baskets. I'm always amazed when something so simple can give someone so much. How long does it usually take to make a basket?
It takes about 3 hours, 3.5 hours,
Okay.
and you can have a finished basket.
Yeah.
Under there.
Take that, corner.
What we're going to do now, the spokes that are on the outside of your basket get folded and tucked down inside. The ones that are on the inside of the basket, we're going to just cut them off flush and get rid of them.
I mean, this is extremely rewarding, and I see why you love this so much. I'm really getting a lot out of this.
I do find that it's meditative as you're working on your basket and you get into the rhythm of the pattern. It's just very relaxing to me.
Oh wait, this is the last one.
It is the last one.
Shh.
Now look, all you have to
Smoke
do is
break.
go snip,
I'm just kidding.
snip.
Oh wait, you get the glory job.
This is a lasher. Basically, we're going to sew the top of your basket together, and then you just tuck it through there and pull it.
Surprisingly, I got a lot out of basket weaving, and the crew will tell you I carried my basket around like a coveted trophy. I guess I feel like we all need days that end with something to show for all of our hard work and time. But how often can we make something in just a few hours that will last a lifetime? Check that out.
Beautiful.
I made a basket.
You did.
Well, I've gotten to take a look at some of the recreation and heritage that makes the Appalachian Valley and Ridge so special to Tennessee. Later today, I get to meet up with some of the region's rarest and most distinguished residents. And from what I'm told, I've got quite a chase ahead of me to track them down. So I've stopped by the McLeod Mountain Restaurant and Lodge to get a good meal and to learn more on how the staff here serves up quality cuisine with quite a view. So let's go take a look.
It's a family-owned property. We purchased the property back in the late 80s off of Jim McLeod and just kind of hung on to it. It was our family retreat. We would come up, hike, just enjoy. A few years ago, my dad decided that it was time to share it. I got a little bit of the vision that Jim McLeod had and wanted to open it up to everyone to come and enjoy.
You started with the restaurant. And now there's a lodge. 5 years ago, when you opened that restaurant, what was the vision of what y'all are wanting to do up here?
The vision was just a getaway for families. We never really focused toward companies, retreats, just a place to get away with your family, to get away from it all. In fact, people call to ask, what is there to do at the lodge if I come up to spend the night? Well, there's not a whole lot. And that's part of the intent of it, is to get away from all of it. Sure, your phone will work, you can get on the internet, but it's more about looking out and enjoying what God's given us here.
To call this your own would be amazing, but the fact that you guys are opening it up for the public, that anyone can come down the skywalk and see one of the most spectacular views of Tennessee, specifically East Tennessee, that I've ever seen.
Up here, it's just about nature. I mean, you look out to the different ridges, you can see all the way to I-75, which is 20-some miles off in the distance. Most spectacular sunsets. Just a really beautiful place to be.
And also silence.
Oh, absolute silence. In fact, like I say, 20 miles in the distance is the interstate. Sometimes you can just barely hear a little faint, you can hear it off in the distance.
Yeah.
Lots of birds, lots of nature.
A real getaway. No matter where you are in the world, an area's food is one of its most important traditions. Food helps define a region's identity. And no matter what language you say it in, there are few culinary compliments higher than "just like Mama used to make." But just like Mama used to make can't be bought in no box. And just like Mama used to make can't be measured out exactly from recipes. You have to eyeball it. These are biscuits that we're making, correct?
Homemade scratch biscuits.
Well, I'm looking for the can that I can just pop and lay them out on the sheet.
No,
so.
ain't none of those around.
All right, this is new territory for me, so. Is this a special recipe?
Nope, just
No?
any recipe. This is how my mother taught me, so.
Okay, well, then that's
It's
special.
just a-
Hey, that's special to you then, right?
Yeah, we cook everything that we can from scratch.
Okay.
There's some things that we have to use a mix for or something,
Okay.
but most of the time, we do everything we can from scratch.
One of my family's favorite food traditions is that we have turkey and dressing 2 times a year, on Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. Furthermore, it's cornbread dressing, all of which is made in a cast iron skillet the way God intended. Baker dressing is made this way or no way at all, because without a cast iron skillet and cornbread, you may as well just call it stuffing. Some traditions should never be forgotten. And the beauty of food is that it has a way of not only filling our bellies, but our hearts as well, by bringing back memories in every bite. Never underestimate the power of a cast iron skillet, because the iron that helped build some of the biggest buildings in the country is the same iron that helped build the small communities scattered throughout these mountains, one home-cooked meal at a time.
Either one.
Look at that.
And there's your ham and your egg.
Oh, yum. Now, this is the dish that I'm most excited about because I have never heard of fried molasses.
It takes a little while to make molasses, but we use local molasses.
Okay, so this is from here
Here.
locally, and frying it is an Appalachian dish.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I've never heard of it. So tell me what we're doing here.
Okay, we're gonna put just a little bit of grease in the skillet, just
Okay.
a little bit.
How everything starts here. I love it.
Yeah,
It's great.
everything
and
starts
back
with
to the
grease.
cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
You guys are doing it right.
This is like a dessert after your breakfast. It's
Okay.
gonna be sweet tasting, and you can, whatever biscuits are left or whatever, you just kind of pour it on top of those. And you could take this here and you could put it in a bowl or a container and take it out to the field with you or whatever. And then at lunch, you could take the biscuit and then pour that over it, and it'd be something sweet and plus something, that would stick to your bones again.
Yeah.
And keep you going the rest of the day. And then that way you didn't have to come in and eat.
Okay.
So we're gonna take that and let it get a little warm.
Okay.
And then you're gonna pour your molasses in.
Right now?
Go ahead and pour it in your skillet.
All right. Woo!
Good stuff. Okay, now once this starts cooking up here, see how it's gonna start bubbling on the side? You wanna stir it.
Okay.
Just stir it up.
All right.
And we're gonna let it get a little hot.
It's doing something.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Now you're getting there.
Oh, look at
Okay.
that.
When it starts doing that, you want
Okay.
to take just a pinch of baking soda.
Okay.
Just a pinch. Then you're going to sprinkle it in there. Now, start stirring because you're going to bubble up there real big. See how it turns the color?
Oh, it's like
Magic. Okay.
Is that good?
That's good. You're done. We'll cut you off.
Okay.
Pour it in your bucket.
After all the fun I've had the last 2 days, it's no exaggeration to say that I'll be singing the praises of the Tennessee Appalachian Valley and Ridge for many years to come. But around here, if you're looking to bugle or belt out a tune, you got some big competition. Because although the last wild elk spotted in Tennessee dates all the way back to 1865, In recent years, TWRA has been going to great lengths to reintroduce and reestablish a native elk population. And today, after more than 10 years of hard work, I get to help out TWRA elk restoration specialist Steve Bennett check up on his progress.
Well, we're at Hatfield Knob Wildlife Viewing Area on the North Cumberland Wildlife Management Area, and what we're doing is we've got elk out here that we want to put some radio collars on, so we can track them and follow them around, see what they're going to do. We've got a lot of fields that the area guys have planted and food for wildlife, and we'll be able to follow these animals from here to see which fields they're really liking the most, and in that way we can maybe provide that food a little more abundantly.
Okay.
We're going to try today to go out, see if we can get close enough and see if we can dart one or two. We usually pull out a little hair or a little blood, and then we wake the animal back up and off they go.
Right.
Yeah.
As if nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it takes them just a little bit to wake back up. It doesn't take too long. Some a little longer than others, but they're up and they go off on their merry way.
One of the hard facts about traditions is that they often fade away. But thanks to TWRA's hard work, a tradition that's been gone from this area for close to 150 years is being reintroduced. Getting an up-close look at these rare animals and hearing their bull bugle from across the field for the first time gave me a new perspective on why some traditions are worth fighting for.
Back in the mid-90s, TWRA was looking at the possibility of bringing elk back. So the agency sent people out. They did some studies and talked to a lot of people to see if it was even feasible. And so from 2000 on, we were trying to get elk into this area. We had 5 releases. The original release was in 2000, it was 50 elk. The last release was 2008.
Keep with us. Just let him go. Just let him go. Think about it.
We're in the North Cumberland area. Is this area suitable for elk, or most suitable, or habitat-wise?
It's suitable in some ways. One is that we got a large expanse of land that's coal companies own, the agency owns, and so elk take a lot of space. So it's good from that. There's not very much farming, and so you have limited conflicts with agriculture.
Okay.
And elk are grazers. They like fields. And so as more and more of this timber, gets harvested, it really creates a lot of habitat for elk. So that's what we're trying to do, and their cutting and harvesting timber is really helping that.
The population.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Why is a project like reintroducing elk, why is that important?
Well, as we settled this area, and not only here, but in eastern Kentucky, all the way up in eastern Pennsylvania, the elk just disappeared. We sort of took away their habitat and killed a lot of them out. So they were native all the way up the Appalachian Mountains. There is a long-term goal of several states. These elk may go all the way up the Appalachian Mountain chain. You've got a lot of organizations, volunteer organizations, that put their money into these programs. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation was instrumental in us getting. We wouldn't have elk here if it wasn't for them.
Okay.
And we have other organizations, that Safari Club International, TWRA Foundation, the Federation, a lot of groups these are people that are wanting elk here. And so that's what we're trying to do, is bring elk here. And, you can come up here any time of the year. The best times for the bugling and the mating activity is September and October.
Okay.
But, if you come up here in the afternoons, late afternoons, just about any time, you've got a good chance of seeing elk.
Sometimes one of the most important parts of tomorrow is remembering yesterday. Where the Appalachians were once considered a barrier to the future, on this episode, they've been a bridge, connecting us to many of the roots and traditions of our past. If we look back, we can all trace our branches back to our roots. My roots are right here in Tennessee, and being able to say that I was born and raised here is one of the things I'm most proud of. This season, we've already seen some amazing things and met some amazing people. And what I've learned is that there are a lot of people here in Tennessee with a tight grip on tradition. They have a firm hold on what makes our state so great. And it's my intent to help make sure that they're not letting go anytime soon.